Good morning, everybody. You're very welcome to this morning's webinar, podcast, webcast, whatever term you'd like to use. We're here today really to speak about the stimulus package that was announced last week. Possibly we might be a little bit premature with this as the government haven't issued all the guidelines for all the pieces, but we will keep you up to date with everything we have so far. So today, I'm delighted to be joined by Anne Peters. Anne is a partner at Fingleton, Tyrrell and Peters and Tyrrell, and they're based in Portlaoise in accountancy practice and also chamber member and also head of enterprise with the local enterprise office, Evan Redden. So you're both very welcome, ladies, and to anyone else who's joined in today. So I suppose there's lots of things in that stimulus package, and there was the whole fanfare, and there was a mixed bag of things for people and also a mixed reaction. I suppose from a Chambers Ireland point of view, we're still lobbying on pieces like we hope to get the rates waiver extended for 12 months, and there's other bits and pieces. I suppose members have expressed concern that changing the temporary wage subsidy scheme to the new scheme with an increase in the reduction of your the criteria, so from 25% to 30% reduced turnover will rule some people out. So that's an issue, and it's hard to know why the government would have done that, but I suppose these things have to be scaled back over time. So we might start today with yourself, Anne, if you wanted to go through the pieces regarding the tax and the finance pieces that are relevant to the members. There's lots in there, so if you want to kind of hit on the main points, that would be great.
Okay, thanks, Bernie. Good morning, everybody. As Bernie mentioned there, the July job stimulus was introduced on July 23rd. The main points from, I suppose, a business point of view, tax point of view, as Bernie mentioned, we're all very familiar with the temporary wage subsidy scheme, the TWSS, which was introduced in March. And it was a very good scheme. It was kind of convoluted at the beginning to get used to it, but once I'm sure everybody is used to it now if you're using it. There was quite a lot of revision. I think there were 3 revisions to it. But that scheme will now end on the 31st of August, and it is being replaced by the Employment Wage Subsidy Scheme, or EWSS. So there's a couple of changes. There's basic changes to these 2 schemes. The EWSS operates on a flat rate subsidy to qualifying employers. So basically, there's 2 levels. So for every employee that their gross wage was between €203 and €1,462 per week, the employer will get a flat rate subsidy of €203. If your gross wage was between €151.50 and €202.99 per week, then the subsidy falls to €151.50. There is no subsidy for employees that were paid less than the €151.50 or more than €1,462. And an interesting point on this one is the proprietary directors do not qualify, whereas they did qualify on the TWSS. So basically, if you own more than 15% of your share capital, you're a proprietary director, you don't qualify for the new scheme. As Bernie mentioned, the criteria for eligibility has increased. So the TWSS was if you felt that your turnover, or you could show that your turnover or your customer orders were going to be 25% less in Q2 of 2020, i.e. from April to June over the same period in 19, then you qualify. That's 25%. This one is 30% of a 6-month period. So you're estimating out from July 1, 2020 to December 31st. So, you know, it is a forecasting thing, really. So if you feel that your orders or your invoicing will be down by 30%, then you are eligible for the EWSS. It is important to document at this point why you think you will be eligible. So you need to keep, if you have your sales invoice, your forecasts, you need to keep that documentation because it certainly may well be looked for by revenue. Similarly with the TWSS, it's important to keep the documentation to show why you were eligible because they are doing compliance reviews now on that. Both schemes at the moment run parallel. So both schemes are running actually from the 1st of July gone by 2020 until the TWSS ceases at the 31st of August 2020. Having said that, the operandi by revenue to go in on the EWSS scheme is not there yet and won't be there till August. So what they're saying is that they will retrospectively pay employers that were eligible from the 1st of July. So they won't lose out. For seasonal workers, that type of employee that will come in on the 1st of July. The EWSS is estimated to cost 1.9 billion and will run until the 31st of March next. That's that on that one. The other, I suppose, relevant bit was the reduction in VAT, though I don't know fiscally how relevant it is to retailers or traders. The standard rate of VAT is dropping to 21% from 23% from the beginning of September 2020, and this will run until the end of February 2021. I suppose it's not great. I mean, for normal retailers, you probably won't see much difference. I can't see, shopkeepers or retail outlets reducing their prices to reflect the 2%. It will help their margin somewhat, but as everyone's aware, for the hospitality sector, they were hoping that the VAT rate would be reduced back to the 9%, which obviously didn't happen. But I don't know what the rationale was on I suppose to get people out spending, but really unless you're buying big ticket items, the 2% is not huge for any customer. The other things that came in, there's an interesting carryback of income tax losses and capital allowances, which is the first time we've seen this. Basically, if you have filed your income tax return, when you file your income tax return for 19 and you're aware that you are going to make losses in 2020, you can carry back those losses against your 19 income tax to a maximum of 25,000 carry back. That's an unusual one insofar as corporation tax can be carried back, but haven't seen income tax before. I would caution, it is a good measure, obviously, but sometimes you can use losses in a better way. So maybe speak with your accountant or your tax advisor on that one. The other interesting point in that is interim. You can make an interim claim for a loss. So you don't have to wait until the end of the year. You can use an estimate and apply that back to your 19 income tax, which is unusual because revenue generally don't like estimates of anything. Similarly, corporation tax losses for 2020 can be carried back. Now, corporation tax losses could always be carried back, but in this instance, they're allowing you to carry back earlier. Again, you can make an interim claim. That's up to a maximum of 50% of what you believe your loss will be. Okay. Then we have the debt warehousing of certain PAYE and VAT debts. This is where a trader or a retailer finds themselves, a business finds themselves in arrears with their VAT PAYE due to COVID. So basically what they're saying is liabilities accrued up to a period after a business has returned to trading may be eligible for warehousing. So really, I suppose, it's not very clear as to the periods, but if, for instance, you come back to work on July 1st, your first VAT period is normally July, August. So I think what they're saying is liabilities that are owing through the COVID period to that period can be warehoused. So you get basically a 12-month hold so that they're not, they won't be looking for demands, or they won't be sending out demands for that. And then there is a stimulus if you want to go into an installment arrangement with them. The interest rate has dropped to 3%, which is actually very good. In general terms, on installment plans, it's 12% or thereabouts. The only proviso, I suppose, which is a big proviso, is that the business continues to keep their current taxes up to date. Okay, then we have the stay and spend tax credit to support the hospitality sector. So this one is, I'm sure you've heard about it, where you can claim up to €625 on qualifying expenditure, accommodation, food and non-alcoholic drink. And that's effective from the 1st of October next. Obviously, it's to stimulate the hospitality sector. My understanding is they're issuing an app, and you basically upload the receipts, qualifying receipts, to the revenue. The maximum, therefore, you can get as a tax credit is €125. Don't know about that one, but I think a voucher might have been better. But anyway, then the other one, I suppose, that may or may not affect people is the Help to Buy scheme for new housing purchases or new builds, and that has been increased from 20,000 up to 30,000, and that increase takes place from the 23rd of July, from the date the stimulus package came in, until the end of this fiscal year 2020. They also have increased the percentage that you can claim from 5% to 10%, and that would be helpful, honestly, to people trying to get on the property ladder. I think that's the main. Oh, sorry, the Cycle to Work scheme, my favourite. The Cycle to Work scheme, they have increased the expenditure on qualifying bicycles from €1,000 to €1,250, and electric bikes are gone up to €1,500. I think that's really it, Bernie, as now a very quick run through, obviously.
Yeah, no, that's great, Anne. And I know, I suppose you mentioned there, if people are unsure, the best thing is to speak to your accountant and for them to interpret it, and to keep documentation to justify why you're actually availing.
Yeah, that's very important. Really I actually should say Revenue are sending out compliance letters now, and they're sending them through my inquiries. So the business will find them in their inbox. They're not coming to their agents. So just to be aware of that, and there is a 5-day turnaround in response to that. So.
And have you heard of many of your clients?
Some of ours have got them, yeah.
I haven't heard of anybody.
Yeah, sometimes they can't find them because they're sitting in the inbox, and then eventually Revenue will contact us and say, we've sent this out to your client, and we haven't.
So is that on the inbox on the Revenue?
On Ross. Yeah.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah.
So we really need to
just keep an eye out for that one. Yeah.
Because a lot of people wouldn't go in there regularly.
Well, probably. Well, you should. But could, yeah. But that's where they're going in. We weren't aware of it until one client until the Revenue contacted us and said, this has gone out to this client and he hasn't responded yet.
Right, okay. So and the last thing you want is not to respond, because then it just opens that kind of worms.
Yeah.
But you have one comment there on the VAT. I did listen to Leah Verk last week justifying the thinking on that, and they're not expecting the retailers to pass that reduction on to the consumer. They're expecting that the business owners will actually see that in their bottom line. Mm-hmm. So for consumers expecting to see a reduction, that's not really what it was intended for. So we'll have to see how that one goes. And for 2% of the consumer, as you mentioned, is not huge, but it might impact more on the business owner at the end of the year.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, Evelyn, would you like to talk through, I know specifically there's a lot of people with questions on the Restart, the Enhanced Restart grant.
Okay.
And the rates piece, Microfinance Ireland, and anything else
Okay.
you have information, and I know it can be slow for it to
Yeah,
trickle
it takes a
down
while to
to
dribble down, but anyway.
yeah.
Well, I suppose I'd just like to start by saying that the local enterprise office, we're the first stop shop for anyone starting or growing a business. And our priority at the minute is to make sure that small businesses have the relevant supports to help them overcome the current challenges. So I would encourage small businesses to, at the very least, have a conversation with us, and we'll see what kind of supports would be a good fit for their business. There's lots of supports out there for them. If we can't support them, we'll point them in the direction of whatever agency can support them. So just to bear that in mind, pick up the phone, have a conversation with us, and we can take it from there. In relation to the July stimulus, we're delighted to see that trading online continues to be a priority for the government, and they've given an additional 20 million to the trading online voucher. Now, the current offering is 90% funding up to a max of 2,500. We don't know if that current offering will continue. As soon as we hear, we'll let people know. There's also a further call through Enterprise Ireland of the online retail scheme. That's 5.5 million. So that's another opportunity for retailers to apply for funding under that scheme. And again, I don't have, details on it, but as soon as we have it, we'll push it out there. In relation to microfinance, again, they've received additional funding, which is great because that scheme was oversubscribed and they weren't accepting applications. I suppose for businesses that can't access funding through the pillar banks, microfinance is there for them for that. What I would say to businesses, if they are looking at making an application to microfinance, contact the local enterprise office. We'll assign a mentor to work with them on the application, and the interest rate is 1% less if they come through the enterprise office. So I think that's worth remembering. The current offering for microfinance is a max of 50,000. I'm not sure if that will continue, but as soon as we get information on it, we'll push it out there. So again, just remember, come to the local enterprise office if you're making an application. In relation to the Restart grant, delighted to see that that's being extended to a broader range of SMEs. The amount has increased to 25,000 and the minimum amount is 4,000. Now, businesses have received payment under this scheme already. They will be entitled to a top-up. Okay. Now, as far as I'm aware, but it has yet to be confirmed, this will be done through the local authority, that they won't need to reapply for that top-up. So it will automatically be applied to whatever they've got already. So again,
will they automatically get that payment?
Yes, well, that's what the local authority expect will happen, but that has to be confirmed.
Right, okay. So that would be nice for people to...
That would be good. And that information obviously will be sent down in the next few weeks. So I suppose just to watch out for that.
Yeah.
In terms of the rates waiver scheme, I checked with rates section here. That will automatically apply to and be applied to any customer that is eligible for it, the 6 months. For businesses that wouldn't be eligible, there's obviously some exclusions. So, but they can apply on a case-by-case basis. So, if you fall under those exclusions, you can still apply on a case-by-case basis.
Okay. Okay.
So there will be further information coming out on that, and if you check www.laois.ie, that's the council's website, so all the information will be there.
Okay, that's perfect. So we can put that out on our newsletter once we know those bits.
Yes, exactly.
In terms of, for companies that initially got 10,000, now they'll get an extra 15. I
don't know. There will be a top up, but I'm not sure if
But if somebody paid, their rates were 40,000, and they only received 10 initially,
that's what it looks like at the minute. But obviously,
I think the hospitality sector will benefit from that one in particular.
It will be great. Yeah, it will be great.
Yeah, well, look,
I suppose in relation then to, there is additional funding coming to the LEOs.
yeah,
We don't know yet what those supports will be, but again, as soon as we get the information, we'll pass it on.
yeah,
Aside from what was announced in the July stimulus, I suppose businesses should remember that there is lots of free mentoring, free training, all online at the minute that they can avail of, and that will continue until the end of the year. There's businesses, I suppose, are now looking at their processes and implementing ways to become more competitive. So there is a Lean for Micro program there that can assist them with that. That's to the value of 5,000, and it's €250 to the client.
right.
So they're getting a huge amount of support there for very little. I would encourage businesses to avail of that. And I suppose it'll help them be more resilient if something like COVID-19 happens again, you know. So I think they need to be looking at their processes and putting plans in place to be able to mitigate challenges in the future. So, you know, engage with us and we'll go through that with you.
Is there a starting date for that, or is that an ongoing program?
The Lean for Micro is an ongoing.
Okay.
So I would say, you know, talk to our business advisor and they can dip in at any point.
Oh,
yeah. It's a one-to-one, so it's specifically for their business.
Great. And in terms of your autumn schedule, when will you?
Our autumn schedule is, if you have a look at our website, it will be on the website in the next few days.
Okay.
Again, there's lots of training there. The majority of it will be done remotely, and unfortunately that's the way it's going to be for the foreseeable. Obviously we have, you know, start your own business, marketing programs, financial programs. We're looking at innovation this year, so there will be programs on that. So lots there for everyone.
Yeah, I have to say, you've been doing a great job throughout this, and the feedback I'm getting from members is really excellent.
That's great. Great to hear. Yeah.
The trading online and the continuity vouchers have really kept people in business and given them an impetus to kind of keep going and not just
that's it, exactly. And I suppose with the business continuity voucher, what we're seeing is a lot of people that probably never engaged with us in the past, they're now coming back to us to see what other supports are there. So it was good, I suppose, starting point for them with
exactly. And in terms of the companies, you now deal with companies over 10 employees, isn't that the case?
Well, I suppose for the business continuity voucher, we were dealing with businesses employing up to 50. We're not sure going forward if, you know, that will continue or there will be other supports for businesses over 10, but we'll await to see what comes down the line in terms of the new supports.
And then there's the whole other piece of Brexit coming down the track as well.
Yeah, so there's a 20 million Brexit fund coming down the track, and again, it's something we would talk to our clients about all the time. I know with COVID, Brexit probably got pushed aside, but you know, it's still there, and it is going to happen. And you know, we are engaging with clients to look at a strategy for Brexit, and in fairness, a lot of clients are implementing strategies at this stage, and you know, trying to be as prepared as they can be. So I would encourage businesses to engage with us on that. So
maybe
look,
the whole COVID scenario gave people a time to even look at that.
That's it. Yeah, exactly.
So
look, there's lots of supports out there, and not just Leo supports. And you know, it's important that businesses avail of them. You know.
Yeah. So I suppose the message really for everybody listening today is to engage with your accountant, with the local enterprise office, with ourselves. You know, don't be afraid to ask the question. If we don't know the answer, we'll know where to get the answer to you. And it is about staying engaged and knowing what supports are there and keeping yourself informed.
Yeah.
And if something goes out in the newsletter and you're not sure what it is, just pick up the phone or email any of us and we'll clarify those bits for you. But we are
Exactly,
here to
yeah.
continue the support, and hopefully for 2020, I think it's survival, and next year then it's recovery.
Exactly, yeah.
And the way to look at it, and I suppose don't think too much about way into the future, because we all know you can't do that anymore. It's day by day, week by week, month by month.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
And I suppose for a business, it's important to know that they're not on their own, that,
They're
you
not
know,
on
there
their
are people there to support them.
Yeah, okay. I don't see any questions coming into the chat, but if anyone that's logged on would like to ask anything, far away. Otherwise, if you think of something after this session, send myself or Evan or Anne an email with the question, and we'll hopefully be able to answer it. And thanks to Anne and Evan for taking the time out today. You're both very busy and
You're welcome.
supporting businesses, and it's great to have your expertise available to us in this format. The beauty of Zoom is that we can do these sessions, record them, and then people can dip in and out of them, and the information is there. So we'll wrap up and have a nice rest of the day, and thanks again for all your support.
Thanks, Bernie.
Okay, thanks, Bernie.
Thank you.